At Christmas dinner, Dad snapped, demanding I cover the bills again. Whispered. You're just jealous of your sister. You know, I always believed Christmas was supposed to be a time for family, for coming together. But what if the very people you'd sacrificed everything for, your entire savings, years of your life, looked you in the eye on Christmas night and told you were nothing, just a jealous outsider who didn't belong? What would you do? Because that's exactly what happened to me, Hannah Miller, last Christmas. And let me tell you, what followed shook that entire house to its foundation. You won't believe how quickly everything turned. Let's go back to where it all began. I grew up in a quiet neighborhood in Lansing, Michigan, in a two-story house with faded blue siding and a roof that always leaked. It held every memory of my childhood, the good ones, and the kind that shaped the quiet bitterness I carried into adulthood. My dad, Robert, worked for decades at the auto plant, his hands scarred, walking with the pride of steady employment. My mom, Linda, worked part-time at a dentist's office, coming home with tired eyes, making dinner as if exhaustion was just part of the routine. Then, in 2010, everything changed. The plant downsized and Dad was let go. I was in college, but I remember coming home to a silence so thick you could choke on it. Dad sat in his recliner, shoulders slumped, remote slipping from his hand. Overdue notices started piling up, and at night, whispered arguments seeped through the walls. That's when I first understood what it felt like for a home to be truly unstable. Even before that, I knew exactly where I stood. I was the reliable firstborn, the one who never caused trouble. I followed the rules, studied hard, and stayed quiet. My younger sister, Jessica, was 6 years younger, and in their eyes, she was the shining star. If she scraped by with a C average, she was celebrated. I still remember one Christmas. Jessica, fresh off a barely passing school year, got a brand new pink bicycle with a woven basket. Mom clapped with delight. Dad knelt to adjust the training wheels, his face glowing with pride. I stood nearby, holding my report card with straight A's, waiting for someone to notice. Dad glanced over, a quick pat on the shoulder. Keep it up, kiddo. Then turned back to Jessica. That was it. That was the moment I learned that doing well would never be enough to make me special. It wasn't just that holiday. Jessica always got more. The larger bedroom, new clothes, while mine were hand-me-downs. At school events, Dad's voice boomed for her, even for a participation ribbon. When I accepted an academic award, his applause was polite, almost absent. Another time, Jessica came home with a 60% on a math worksheet. Mom kissed her forehead, said she did her best, and announced ice cream to celebrate. That same week, I'd placed first in the regional spelling bee. My ribbon stayed folded in my backpack. No one asked, so I said nothing. That night, I lay awake, wondering why my best never seemed enough. Around then, I realized Jessica had learned to play into it. She acted like applause was hers by default. She'd interrupt me at dinner, and if I objected, Dad would scold me for being too harsh. Mom always said Jessica was sensitive, needing extra encouragement. I was strong enough to manage without it. As years passed, nothing changed. Jessica's confidence soared, fueled by constant praise, while I became the quiet achiever, convinced I'd never measure up. I pinned my hopes on the idea that someday my hard work would force them to see me. When Dad lost his job, the favoritism only deepened. Jessica was still in high school, and they poured what little they had into full story on the channel. Link below. Click now and watch what happened next.